Hello and welcome to our first lesson on operating systems beginning Linux. Of course, we're going to introduce this operating system. Some of you might be familiar with it, others, this might be completely new. No prior knowledge is required for this class. So if you know nothing about Linux, that's totally fine. We're going to take it one step at a time. So some of the topics we're going to cover in today's lesson, we're going to cover hardware and software, some vocab terms essential to understanding operating systems. We'll talk operating systems themselves, some that you're familiar with, including Linux. We'll talk about the Linux operating system. So we'll take a deep dive, not just on how it's used today, but also on the history, where it started. You might be surprised it has very humble beginnings. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit about virtual machines because that's the environment we're going to set up to actually run this operating system on your computer. So let's get started with our introduction. So what is the Linux operating system? It's an open source Unix-like operating system based on the Linux kernel created by Linus Torvalds in 1991. So it's relatively young operating system. There are operating systems much older than this one. Windows does go a few years back, as well as Mac OS. I believe IBM goes even further back. Of course, these operating systems, right? They transform, they've evolved over time to be, much more modern, and that's the same case for Linux. Although Linux has a very interesting trajectory. So let's start with what kernel means. So kernel is a core component of an operating system. It's the bridge between computer hardware and software applications. So that bridge, that analogy, that metaphor that we're using, we're going to continue that once we take a deep dive on hardware and software. So where is Linux used today? It's used in web servers. So almost pretty much the entire internet uses these special computers called server computers. For the most part, it's above 90% of these servers are running on the Linux operating system. Android, which is a mobile operating system, is actually based off the Linux OS. So it started with Linux and then transformed it and customized it to be for smartphones. Uh, PC or personal computers, those are desktops, laptops. You can have them run Linux as well. So some of the distros or distributions, we'll talk about what that means. Some of those different variants are Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian. There's Arch Linux. There's a bunch of other ones that we'll talk about. For this class, we're going to focus on Ubuntu. That's going to be the one we set up on our virtual machines. So IoT devices and supercomputers. So when it comes to military, scientific applications, Linux is definitely the way to go. So if you plan on becoming a software engineer, you're definitely going to encounter Linux at some point.